Alright, the time has come for me to look at a Selesnya build out of the guild kit. So this is, I think, the third one that I've done. I think if I remember correctly, I started with Boros, then I moved on to Golgari, and then now I am doing Selesnya. I still have Demir and Izzet, or Izzet, I call it Izzet, to do. And I'm taking my time because I have been doing a bunch of other stuff with other trading card games. If you look at my other videos. So in this video and probably the next one, I'm going to run through my piles of themes that I want to put in this deck. First, I want to talk about the commanders and see what sort of commanders I want to put in this deck, and which one should the commander be. Of course, in the case of Trostani, it's going to gain you a ton of life. I'm not a huge fan of gaining life unless it fits a specific strategy. And then also, for one green-white and tapping it, you can create a copy of one of your tokens that's already on the field. I am not sure that I'm on tokens, so I'll think about that as I go through these three other cards. Now, the Wolf Blood is a 6-drop 3/4 Lord. So a Lord's green, a Lord's white, and I've got a lot of multicolored cards in Selesnya here. And when you tap it, you create a Voja token, which is legendary. So you can only do that once. Maybe if somebody saps it, you can create another one. But it's not going to help you with Trostani because when you cannot populate it, it's legendary. And that's a drawback. So really, when I look at this card, I think mid to late game is going to lord cards. So that's fine. Then Shana, which I've already built a deck to before, it's just a go wide card. It gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. I have found that particular feature to be really fickle. You get board wiped, and if that was your only strategy, you are in serious trouble. So I never like to bank on it, and I don't want Shana as a commander, considering that I have access to Trostani. So far, right now, before I discuss Amara, I think Trostani wins from these three to be the commander for this deck. It's only a 4-drop. Yes, it is very selective on mana, but I'll take that. Notice how dark the card is because of the foiling. I find that interesting, not in a great way. Alright, so in the case of Amara, when it becomes tapped, you create a 1/1 white soldier token with lifelink. That's alright, and it comes in very early, but it doesn't win against Trostani for commander. So I think I'm going to go with Trostani, and I'm going to call this a Trostani build. Now, as I go through my piles, I'll tell you guys what I've put in these piles. So I've got green creatures and non-creatures. Basically, this pile is the things green does. Then I've got, I'm sorry, no, I take it back. That is true for this pile. This pile is white creatures and non-creatures, the things that white does, not anything specific. Then this pile has legendaries and all the cards that came out of the guild kit that I'm going to think about. They can be in any color or multicolored. And then the selection of multicolored cards out of other sets, and also the Ravnica too. So Return to Ravnica. I went into my Selesnya box. If you've seen my my channel, I have 10 fat packs, one for each guild of Ravnica 2 that I'll be mating with Ravnica 3 as the sets get issued. Okay, so I'm gonna. Then here I have a pile. That's really my Panharmonicon pile. I really like this card. I think it's great. It has to be great in Commander because you can find so many ETB cards. And so I think I tried it in another build and then I took it out. I just didn't have enough. It looks like a winner here. I'm gonna go through the cards, and then I also want to do an enchantment theme. And so any enchantment that enters the battlefield is a mega win in this build that I'm trying. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for a Panharmonicon, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for an enchantment deck, an enchantment build. This dude, just a lesson I was telling my son of when you think, okay, I cannot lose this card. I know I want to use it in lots of builds. And then I put it and the other uncommons that came from the Core Set 2019 toolkit in a little slip, in a little bag. And I put it away in such a way that I wouldn't forget it, and that's how I forgot it. So I spent this morning like 2 hours going through my cards going, I have to put this card in this deck. I'm building an Enchantment Matters deck. And this, right? And this card is a 3-drop, and it's going to draw me a ton. So yeah, so Enchantment Matters, pile. And then here I've got angels, got a bunch of angels, and a bunch of other cards. So, you know, niche strategies, they may go in because they're good, they may not. So I've got angels, then I've got life gain with Ajani's Primate, then I've got vampires, and I do have a tutor for vampires. I'll just go through them and think about them. And then I've got dinosaurs, because again, I'm always using cards from recent standard, from the most recent standard, just to make the decks cheap. And then I've got basically every deck that I build for the guild kits, and maybe even for the foreseeable future. You guys can tell me if I'm full of bull crap. It's going to have this card in it. I tried it with the previous 2 builds. It's just a fantastic card. And then mana rocks. A bunch of mana rocks, artifacts, various artifacts. A lot of them are not going to make it, but I want to discuss them. I like to discuss the cards these days before I decide which way I want to go. Okay, so those are my piles, and I'm going to get started. So I'm going to set aside, so I already have my commander and 3 creatures, so I already have 4 out of my 40 critters pretty much spoken for, and they're in the deck. I'm going to put aside my Panharmonicon and enchantment cards, and my one-trick pony small strategies, and then in my artifacts, I'm going to put them aside. I'm also going to put aside the things that white does, the things that green does, and I'm going to discuss this pile. We'll see how far I get. I want to take my time discussing these cards. If you guys watch my builds, you'll see that I tend to be using the same cards time and again. Not in this case, because I picked cards out of the guild kit, and I also have slowly begun to seed these selections from my larger pile of cards from previous years. And so you'll see those cards in here as I go through them. Okay, so this is mostly mating Ravnica 2, Return to Ravnica, with the guild kit, and then good stuff that is in white and green. All right, so this guy is legendary, and for 1 green, return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand, and you can get this guy out of your graveyard if somebody sapped it. And it gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land card in your graveyard. Not sure. Then this guy came out of the guild kit. It's got the symbol from the guild kit. Loxodon Hierarch. It's a 4/4/4, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. And I said, I'm not sure if I want to shoehorn Ajani, but I think Ajani sort of invited himself. Ajani's Primate invited himself just because I picked Trostani. If I pick Trostani, I'm on life gain. I'm not sure, and again, I'm going to build this deck on Magic Online and test it. I'm not sure how good that is. Okay. And for green-white, you can sack it, and you can regenerate each creature you control. So you'll have to sack this guy to a board wipe, but it'll at least buy you 1 board wipe. Let me put the cards down like this. I'm not yet selecting anything, although if I come across something that I know I put in the pile by mistake, I'll take it outright. Not a great fan of Convoke, but I am going to try to use Convoke in this deck. I am going to try to go wide, and I am definitely going to go for at least 40 creatures, perhaps even more. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not going to say no to a very good critter. Okay, and I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say yes to token strategies. So I should be able to use Convoke. Okay, and you're going to be able to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that Convoked this dude, and it's a 544, but you can take out as much as 4 out of it. That's pretty good. The Armada Worm, yeah, I love it. I think it's a great card. 6/5/5 Trampler, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a 5/5 green worm token. Yeah, what's not to like? Populate, you are on Populate with Trostani. So this card is in, and I'm on enchantments. I definitely know I'm on enters the battlefield, and I'm on enchantments. Then do it again some other way. You know, do again what you were doing with Armada Worm, but now do it as an instant spell to create the token. That's very nice. Of course, the money deck from all the guild kits. I've played against this card. I've never owned it on Magic Online, and I certainly don't own it now. It's definitely going to be always a money card. I've lost to it a lot. When it lands, it makes your gameplay very, very difficult unless you so happen to have a bunch of cards that say, player discard this, player discard that. Or you have like something that causes the player to get rid of permanents of any type without it having to go through hexproof. So if you can avoid it, yes. But a lot of decks that I've built, a lot of decks that people build, are not built to deal with this specific card. And I've lost games to it because I can't take it out and everything my opponent has is hexproof. I'm kind of toast when this thing lands. So I want to play it. Camaraderie, I think is great. I'm looking forward to testing it. I have not had a chance to test it yet. And yeah, anything that gains you life, draws you cards, is going to be good mid to late game, especially in Commander. Then a Convoke board wipe, and if you're on tokens, it doesn't kill your tokens. I think that's fantastic. Then you tap and you create a token. I'll take it. Very good. Even though this is not a selection video, I'll just say things that make it obvious that I'm going to be trying to select it. A 2/3/3, yeah, great, and you're on white green. The cycle is fantastic, needs no introduction, and when it dies, you create 2 tokens. Anything that creates tokens is going to get preference in this build. Tokens, enchantments, and life gain. Tokens, enchantment, life gain, enters the battlefield, and maybe even angels. Then everything else I think is going to have a hard time fitting in, but I'm going to discuss the cards anyways. Tap an untapped creature you control, tap target artifact or creature. Boost a bunch of cards, 3 different creatures until end of turn, sort of like an overrun effect. Hose the graveyard card. Vigilance. Create a token for 4. Very heavy cost, but it does create a token. Gain you life. I wish there were more Ajani Primate-like cards. A Convoker for a battle trick that's an instant. Beautiful artwork from Therese Nielsen, and creates you a token for 2, a 3/3. One of the most beautiful cards in my opinion out of Return to Ravnica block. Options: to create a token, exile a big critter, or do a battle trick with trample. Yeah, for sure, that's great. Populate, you're on Populate in this deck. Exile attacking or blocking creature, and you can convoke it so you can save yourself 1. That's really good. Exile, permanent, temporary exile. It's an enchantment and it uses convoke. Bing, bing, bing. You know, the only thing that it's missing is to give you a token or something. Then convoke to create a bunch of tokens. 3 tokens. Yeah, that's very good. Whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, create a bunch of tokens. Yeah, it's very heavy. Therese Nielsen artwork. Always worth mentioning. You guys probably know I love her artwork. 6-drop. Very heavy. You're in Commander. Why not? You want to have fun. Why not? Signets. No introduction. And I think I'm going to stop here. So that was basically all the cards that came from the guild kit, and a few more. And so this is the first video for the cards. I have a bunch of cards for this selection, and I don't know how many videos just looking through the cards I'm going to take for to look through the cards. But hey, you know, it's a hobby and I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too. And I love deck building. So I'm going to stop right here for this first video and keep going with the rest of my piles.